Good evening, everybody. I'm the Merrill Area Public School Board President, Kevin Blake, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like next to introduce the members of the MAPS Board of Education. They're on my left, your right. Board Vice President Maria Volpe. The clerk. Actually, the treasurer is next, John Smith. Clerk, Ned Ashback. Board member Lindy England. Board member Paul Crew. Also, we'll hear later on in our meeting tonight, Superintendent Dr. John Sample and Director of Finance, Brian Dasher. I'd like to remind everyone, parliamentary procedure will be followed at this meeting. Please take note that you will find the notice of publication on the green handout. The ground rules and voter qualifications is on the blue handout, and the powers of the annual meeting is on the yellow handout. I ask that anyone that speaks at the microphone clearly states their full name, whether or not they're a district resident, if they're a qualified voter, age 18, on or before today. I'd like to take this opportunity to say a few words just as an opening or a greeting this evening here for our annual meeting. I'll try to keep this short and sweet. Thank you to everyone that is involved in making Merrill Area Public Schools the best district it can be. From the parents and volunteers to the businesses of our community and donors, to the teachers, administration, and fellow board members. The school year is off to a fast start. Lots of energy and excitement throughout the district. I'd like to take a quick moment to welcome all new staff and welcome back all existing staff members and thank them for all working together to make Merrill the best district we can be. There have been many positive things that have happened throughout the district this past year. Too many to list, I'd hate to leave some out, but a few highlights. We continue to monitor and update our compensation plans to attract and retain the best educators and administration possible for our students. We have also completed a vast number of facilities projects, a long list that was a focal point of our referendum. We're able to accelerate this process by utilizing our Finance and Human Resources Committee to brainstorm utilizing a local financial institution and some forward financial thinking to take advantage of the low interest rates to allow us to continue to move our district forward as we stay focused on the safety and well-being of our students and staff. Don't let us forget the variety of technology upgrades that we did to make sure we continue to support the needs of our students and staff also. How about the attendance at the summer school? Our summer school programs included sessions at our regular brick and mortar buildings as well as out at our school forest. Also, many updated offerings this year, as we heard at the board meetings, especially at the high school here, including the next steps going forward into our Fab Lab. That's just a few that came to mind here as I was putting this together. We're also in the process of compiling many data points gathered from a variety of methods, including community conversations, surveys, committee meetings, and regular board meetings throughout our district, and we're putting that into the ongoing multi-year strategic plan, which continues to focus on what is best for our students and staff. Also, which is soon to include our master's facilities plan, so stay tuned as we get into our winter months as that is brought together by one of our service providers on Nexus. All these items come with some refreshing measurables we put together to help monitor effectiveness and make sure we're spending the district's dollars as effectively and efficiently as possible. As I wrap up my opening comments tonight, I ask you to please remember some of the words of guidance from Tim Kites from Focus 3 as we kicked off our school year right here in our auditorium. As I think back to his words, he reminded us to start by simply pressing pause. Take that deep breath and gain some clarity as we get our minds right on the topics in front of us for the many events that face us as we work together on our responses so we get the desired outcomes for our district. So as we each go out and be the best version of us we can be, remember each day we get to number 1, lead with purpose, 2, serve people, 3, solve problems, and 4, bring energy. That will make for a great Blue Jay day, and stringing together great Blue Jay days will make for a great Blue Jay year. We're truly excited for not only this school year, but for the future of MAPS and our students. Thank you all for all you do to help make our future bright throughout the district. this point on the agenda, I would like to request nominations for the election of the chairperson. Is there a motion? Paul?
I move to nominate Kevin Blake as chairperson.
We have a motion by Paul Peru and myself as chairperson. Do we have a second? Second by Maria Volpe. Do we have any other nominations for chairperson? Any other nominations for chairperson? Hearing none, all those in favor of myself to be chair of this meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously on a voice vote for me to continue as the chairperson of this meeting. Next, I would entertain a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda. Please. Motion by Paul, is there a second? There's a motion by Paul Crew, a second by John Smith. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda carries unanimously on a voice vote. Next, I would entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and accept the minutes of the last annual meeting as they appear on the pink handout. Do we have that motion? Motion by Maria Volpe. Do we have a second? Second by Paul Peru. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and accept the September 17th, 2018 annual meeting budget hearing minutes as they appear on the pink handout carries unanimously on a voice vote.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Ashbeck.
it says 2019, but it should be 2018.
2018, yes. At this point on the agenda, I'd like to direct you to our treasurer, John Smith, for the treasurer's report.
Good evening. Following is a treasurer's report for September 16th, 2019, for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2019. The beginning cash balance as of January 1, 2018 was $5,835,748.14. Receipts was $62,017,587.14, with disbursements of $60,172,191.22. Thus, the cash ending balance of June 30th, 2019 of $7,681,144.66. These include Fund 10, Fund 21, Fund 23, Fund 27, Fund 29, Fund 30, Fund 50, Fund 72, Fund 80, and Fund 99. Receipts for final state equalization aid, final grant claims, and June food service aid paid during the month of July are not reflected in this ending balance. Final property taxes paid in July and August of $2,936,818.97 are not included in the above ending balance. Beginning and ending cash balances on this report are reconciled using bank statements and are reflected on the balance sheet as the actual cash on hand. At this time, I want to take a brief moment to actually recognize the next speaker, Brian Asher. I worked with him for the past year as treasurer, and I'd like to express to the community that the degree of accuracy in our budgeting is just unprecedented. It is a great job. At one point during the year, we had a difference of 43 cents. So that counts to a fraction of a minuscule percent on a $62 million budget. So I think we should be proud of him as our finance director for the district. And at that, I'll turn it over to Brian Asher. Actually, Kevin Blake.
Thank you, John. And now entertain a motion to adjourn the annual meeting and convene the budget hearing. Do we have that motion? Motion by Maria Volpe. Do we have a second? Second by Linda Yingling. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Are there any abstentions? Motion to adjourn the annual meeting and convene the budget hearing carries unanimously on a voice vote. The electors have the right to be heard on the proposed budget. The electors do not approve the budget. The electors do vote on the local tax levy needed to implement the budget. However, in accordance with Wisconsin Statutes 120.12, paren 3, the school board on or before November 1 determines the amount necessary to operate and maintain the district schools, and on or before November 10th certifies the final tax levy. This time, Brian Dasher will outline the 2019-2020 budget and resulting levy found in the financial pages of the 2019-2020 budget book.
All right, I'm going to just quick go over some slides outlining some of the information on the pages of the budget book that you got outside, starting on page 38. So if we take a look, this is the first page of the budget report. This gives you a snapshot of where we're at as a school district. We're looking at projecting about 3,200 students served this year. That's including our VBA virtual students. We're looking at a budget of about total net expenditures of about $41,941,000, with expenditures per pupil of about $12,977. You'll see about 50% of our funding comes from the state, 24% is local, and about 26% is federal. Just over 50% of our budget is dedicated to instruction, and then the remaining is support service. Now that's a little bit misleading because a good chunk of those support services are things like library media teachers, special ed services some special ed services are included in there. Transportation, which is a $3 million budget, is also included in there. And so not all of that support services is unrelated to students. A lot of that is actually supporting instruction in the form of school psychologists, speech language pathologists, and other support staff that work directly with students. Fund balance is just a hair over $5 million this year, about $5,023,000, and you can see our financial history there, revenues versus expenditures over the last few years. This is a snapshot of our general fund budget. We're looking at $5,019,000, sorry about that, on fund balance for this year, up just a little bit from last year at $5,007,000. And total revenues, $36.7 million, and total expenditures, $36.7 in the general fund. The general fund, again, being the operating fund. That's where the majority of our expenditures are located. This slide represents revenue sources. You can see, again, that 50.9% is coming from the state, local. That's the majority of the local funds is local property tax. The remaining is gate admissions, tournament entry fees, student fees and fines, and things like that. Federal funding takes up about 2.9%, or consists of about 6.9% of our budget, $2.9 million for 6.9% of our budget. And that's in the form of federal grants, Title I, Title II, special education grants. And then inter-district, this section of the pie right here, $5.5 million, that is primarily open enrollment tuition. The majority of that comes from the Bridges Virtual Academy. We have just over 700 students that open enroll into the district from outside, from around the state. And that generates pretty close to the majority of that revenue for the district. Expenditures. The largest source of expenditures is salaries and benefits. This section right here, 49% of our expenditures are salaries. 23.8 is benefits. So in total, that's over 70% of our expenditures are in staffing. The next largest section is purchase services, $7.2 million. The largest portion of that piece of the pie is transportation, busing services to get students from their house to school and back again. And that's about $3 million of that, and the rest of that, utilities, keep the lights on, and things like, other contracted services fall into here. Construction projects will fall into there. Building maintenance falls into this section. The majority of building maintenance falls into there. Fund balance. You can see the portion of our fund balance over the few years. Right now, we're at 13.43% of general fund expenditures, or about $5,019,882. The projected tax levy for this year. This is projected to be about $10,860,000 for the total. That's broken down between the general fund, our debt service fund. This is for payments on debt, principal and interest on the debt. And then our community service fund. Our community service fund funds our middle school aged activities program. The sports and athletics for children in the district, both enrolled in the district and unenrolled, that attend private schools or homeschools and participate in this program. Total levy is about pretty much even from last year, just a slight little drop. This may drop more. This is dependent on our final aid certification from the state that we get on October 15th. I did estimate aid low. I believe that our aid is actually going to come in higher, which will lower this. And we should probably see a smaller levy than 10.86 million on October 15th. That final levy will be certified by the board at the end of October in their meeting. Impact on property owner. So right now, the projected mill rate is about $8.87 per $1,000 of fair market value. Now, the important thing to remember about mill rate is it's an average. Taxes aren't apportioned to a person's house by the mill rate. So you can estimate what you're going to get in terms of taxes by taking the value of your house and multiplying it. So you can see that I've done that here for a variety of different values, home values. Last year, taxes on a $100,000 home were $900. $900. This year, on average, they'll go down by about $13. Now, again, I keep stressing that this is on average. Some people will see higher, some people will see lower. This is an average across the district. The way taxes are apportioned in the state of Wisconsin, property taxes, is actually by the percentage of value of your personal property compared to the property around you in your municipality. And so it can be difficult to apply a mill rate directly to your value of your home without knowing what the values of the properties around you are doing in relation to yours. But this does give you a fairly good idea and can be used as an estimate until you get your final tax bill in December. So that is the conclusion of the budget. Any questions on that financial information? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Brian. This time I would entertain a motion to reconvene to the annual meeting. Is there a motion? Motion by Nubs Ashbeck. Do we have a second? Second by Paul Crew. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion to reconvene to the annual meeting carries unanimously on a voice vote. As you can see on the screen, at this time I would entertain a motion to adopt Resolution A exactly as it is stated. Is there a motion? A motion by Paul Crew. Do we have a second? Second by Maria Volpe. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. 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 Anyone opposed signify by saying nay. Are there any abstentions? Motion to adopt Resolution A exactly as stated on the screen carries unanimously on a voice vote. This time I would entertain a motion to adopt Resolution B exactly as stated on the screen. We have a motion by Dr. Sample. Is there a second? Second by Ryan Martinovich. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Are there any abstentions? Please note that the board members are abstaining from this vote. So the motion to adopt Resolution B exactly as stated on the screen carries on a voice vote with the board members abstaining. This time I would entertain a motion to adopt Resolution C exactly as stated on the screen. Do we have that motion? We have a motion by Paul Crew. Is there a second this evening? Second by Maria Volpe. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Are there any abstentions? Motion to adopt Resolution C exactly as stated on the screen carries unanimously on a voice vote. At this time, I would like to introduce our superintendent, Dr. John Sample, who will go over the state of the district with you. Dr. Sample?
Hey, John, we have 5 minutes.
Last spring, we held another strategic planning session, and that was 3 years prior to last spring, and we held our first community conversation with myself as superintendent. A lot of great things came out of there, and there were 4 common priorities arriving from the strategic planning from last spring. And those were student achievement and success, community partnership, the student and staff wellness, and fiscal responsibility. Those exact same 4 pillars also carried over to what we call our district scorecard. The district scorecard is what we show the board, what we show ourselves, and what we show the community of our progress for everything that's contained on it. That's where we also use a multitude of, for example, with student achievement and success, a multitude of data points will result out of our efforts this year. We've also elevated our community partnership, not only through surveys, but we want feedback from our community. The district scorecard is the main scorecard, and then every single department and building in our district also has a scorecard that feeds into that district scorecard. So each one of the efforts, the strategic actions, the progress monitoring from all of those scorecards are what makes up the end result, and that's what we're going to evaluate ourselves on later. Student and staff wellness is a pillar that is new to us this year. We're very excited about that because all of our students and our staff need to not only engage in wellness activities, but need to be in the proper place not only to work, but our students need to be in the proper place to thrive. Brian Dasher is responsible, as well as all of us, but Brian Dasher leads the audit framework for smarter spending when it comes to fiscal responsibility. And then finally, we've got a higher than ever level of accountability, as each one of us are responsible for the pillars and those things contained within the pillars for our district scorecard. Kevin Blake had touched on it earlier. Focus 3, namely Tim Kite, kicked off our school year this year. Tim Kite and Focus 3 is dedicated to improving the culture and climate of organizations such as school districts professional and college teams, organizations, and other businesses. And so the nice thing about this timing is the administrators have been working on the culture and climate playbook all last year, and now this year we were able to roll that out to the staff. We know that the employees' behaviors as well as our student behaviors are important to our organization. And so that's going to start with personal responsibility and making sure that each one of us, as Tim Kite would say, we own 20 square feet of this district. In fact, when I was hired, I was given 20 square feet, maybe a few more footage, a little bit more footage, but we're each responsible for 20 square feet of the district. And so we have to be responsible, we have to take personal accountability, we have to be accountable not only to ourselves, but to others as well. You can also see that last year, the administrative team worked very hard on the culture playbook. That is now being rolled out to teachers. And then next year, we have plans to roll this out to students so that we're all speaking the same language. We all treat each other with respect. We all understand what accountability is to something that's bigger than us, and that's MAPS. Again, the accountability and support are built in. And that will result in improvement in each one of our 4 pillars that came not only from our strategic planning, but reflected by our district scorecard. And that's it. I do appreciate the support that we get from the community. We are a community school. We lean very, very heavily on your involvement. As a community school district, our doors are open to the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sample. At this time, I would entertain a motion to set the next annual meeting and budget hearing for September 21st, 2020. Do we have that motion? We have a motion by Maria. We have Maria Volpe, a second by Linda Yingling. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. 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 Anyone opposed, say nay. Are there any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion to set the next annual meeting and budget hearing for September 21st, 2020 carries unanimously on a voice vote. This time I would entertain any other matters as provided by law relating to the management of school district affairs. Hearing none, finally, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this evening. Motion by Maria Volpe, second by Mike Zashbeck. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously on a voice vote. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance this evening.